Imagine you are standing at the beginning of a very long road. This road has a strange rule. It has no end. It just keeps going on and on forever into the distance. You decide to start walking. You take one step, then another. You walk for a whole day and the road still stretches out in front of you, looking exactly the same. You keep walking for a week, a month, even a year. You are getting very far from where you started, but you are no closer to the end. This is a paradox, a puzzle for the mind. How can you be moving yet never arrive? This strange, mind-bending idea is a small doorway into one of the biggest ideas we have ever thought of, the concept of infinity. This puzzle is not just a silly game, it is a way to feel the true nature of something that is hard to hold in our hands. Our minds are very good at understanding things with a beginning and an end. So, what exactly is this big idea we call infinity? In the simplest words, infinity just means without end or boundless. It is a concept that describes something that is larger than any number you can think of or count to. Imagine you are trying to count all the grains of sand on a beach. That would be an incredibly huge number, but it would still be a specific finite number. You could, in theory, finish counting. Infinity is different. It is not a number at all. It is the idea that the counting process itself could go on forever. No matter how high you count, you can always add one more. Infinity is the and on part of that thought. We can think about infinity in two main ways. The first way is called potential infinity. This is the idea of a process that could, in principle, continue forever. The second way to think about it is called actual infinity. This is a bit more difficult for our minds to grasp. This is the idea of treating an entire infinite set of things as one single object. For example, imagine not just the process of counting forever, but the idea of all the counting numbers 1, 2, 3 and so on, all the way to forever existing together at once as a complete collection. This is like looking at the entire endless road from a bird's eye view, seeing the whole thing at once, even though you could never walk it all. This idea is very powerful in higher mathematics and help us solve very complex problems. But you do not need to be a mathematician to understand the basic feeling of infinity. The symbol for infinity looks like a number 8 lying on its side. It is a loop that you can trace with your finger forever, never finding a start or an end. This simple shape is a beautiful visual reminder of what the concept means, a continuous, unending flow. Whether we are talking about a process that never stops or a collection that is complete yet endless, the core idea is the same. Infinity is what happens when you remove the limits. It is what reality looks like when you take away the end. And this simple, powerful idea shows up in some surprising places. It's like a little knowledge suitcase. One of the easiest and most powerful ways to feel a connection to infinity is to go outside on a clear night and simply look up at the sky. Away from the bright lights of the city, the sky becomes a deep, dark velvet blanket covered with countless points of light. You see stars, planets, the Milky Way. At first, you might try to count the stars you can see, but you quickly realize it is an impossible task. There are just too many. The stars you can see with your eyes are only a tiny, tiny fraction of all the stars that are actually out there. Earth is part of a solar system orbiting one star, our sun. Our sun is one among an estimated 200 to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way. Using powerful telescopes like Hubble, astronomers have looked into the darkest patches. Those empty-looking spots are filled with other galaxies. Each is an island of stars and may contain billions of stars. Scientists now estimate there could be as many as 2 trillion galaxies. What lies beyond the part of the universe we can see, light from the most distant objects has taken billions of years to reach us. So there is a horizon and edge to what we can observe. Does the universe itself have an edge? Many models suggest space goes on forever. In this view, the universe is infinite. If you could travel in a starship in a straight line forever, you would never hit a wall or you are now leaving the universe sign. You would keep passing more galaxies, more stars, more planets endlessly. This idea of infinite space transforms our place in the cosmos. We are on a small planet orbiting a typical star in an ordinary galaxy, floating in a possibly endless ocean of space. Thinking about this can make you feel very small, but it can also fill you with a sense of incredible wonder. The night sky is not just a pretty view, it is a window into the infinite. It reminds us reality is vastly larger, stranger, and more magnificent than everyday experience suggests. Yeah. Just as space might stretch on forever, the concept of time can also be connected to infinity. We experience time as a constant forward flow. Seconds tick by turning into minutes, hours, years. Our lives are measured by this forward march of time, from our birth to our present moment. We remember the past, but we can never go back to it. We look forward to the future, but we can only live in the now. This one way arrow of time feels very real. But when we ask bigger questions about time, we run into the idea of infinity again. Think about the future. Will time ever stop? Our clocks might stop. Our planet might one day be gone, but would time itself come to an end? Many scientific and philosophical ideas suggest time might be infinite. The future could be an endless expanse, a road that goes on forever without a final destination. For all of eternity, something will come after the present moment. The universe could continue to evolve, stars could be born, stars could die, and new forms of complexity could arise over unimaginable timescales. We know the universe had a beginning in the Big Bang about 13.8 billion years ago. This seems like a definite start, but what came before the Big Bang? This is one of the biggest mysteries in science. Some theories propose our universe is part of a cycle of universes endlessly crunching and banging. In a cyclic universe, our Big Bang was not the true beginning but just the start of the latest chapter. Time would have no ultimate beginning, stretching infinitely into the past just as it stretches into the future. This concept of eternal time changes how we see our lives. If time is infinite, our individual lifespan is an infinitesimally small moment in an endless ocean. This perspective can be humbling, showing us that our worries and triumphs are fleeting. But it can also be liberating. It means the story of the universe is incredibly long and we are a part of that story, however brief our chapter may be. The constant, steady rhythm of the clock on the wall is a small piece of a river that may have flowed forever and may continue to flow forever. Time's endless nature gives a profound depth to every single moment we experience. Beyond the vastness of space and the endless flow of time, there is another place where infinity is very real and easy to find: the world of mathematics. In fact, this is where the idea of infinity can be seen in its purest and clearest form. It all starts with something very simple that we learn as children: counting. You start with the number 1, then you add 1 to get 2, you add 1 again to get 3. You can continue this process as long as you want. There is no rule in mathematics that says you have to stop at a certain point. There is no largest number. For any number you can possibly name, no matter how gigantic, I can always take that number and just add 1 to it. The result will be a new, even bigger number. This simple fact proves that the set of counting numbers is infinite. This is the most basic and fundamental example of an infinite set. It is not something mysterious or vague. It is a direct consequence of the simple rules of arithmetic. This endless supply of numbers is the toolbox that mathematicians, scientists, and engineers use to build our modern world. Without this infinite collection of numbers, we could not do calculus, physics, or computer science. But the world of mathematical infinity gets even stranger and more wonderful. Mathematicians have discovered that there are different sizes of infinity. This seems impossible at first. How can one endless thing be bigger than another endless thing? Think about it this way. The set of all whole numbers 1, 2, 3 and so on is infinite. Now, think about the set of all even numbers 2, 4, 6 and so on. It seems like there should be half as many even numbers, right? But in fact, you can match every whole number with an even number 1 with 2, 2 with 4, 3 with 6 and so on. This means the two sets are the same size of infinity. This size is called countably infinite. However, there is another bigger kind of infinity. Consider all the numbers between 0 and 1. This includes fractions like 1 half, 1/3. It also includes numbers with decimal points that go on forever without repeating, like pi, the square root of 2. It turns out that there are so many of these real numbers that you cannot possibly list them or count them even if you had forever to do it. This discovery, made by the mathematician Georg Cantor, showed that the infinity of the real numbers is a larger or higher infinity than the infinity of the counting numbers. Math gives us a universe with not just one infinity but an infinity of infinities. Uh, it's pretty amazing. The idea of infinity might seem like a philosophical toy, something to think about, but not very useful in the real world. However, that is far from the truth. Infinity is actually a powerful and essential tool that we use every day in science, engineering, technology. It helps us solve practical problems and build the world around us. One of the most important uses of infinity is in calculus, a branch of mathematics that deals with change. Calculus was invented by Isaac Newton and Gottfried Leibniz to understand things like the motion of the planets. It works by breaking down a problem into an infinite number of incredibly tiny pieces. For example, imagine you want to find the exact area of a shape with a curved edge like a circle. You cannot measure it easily with a ruler. What you can do is fill the circle with a huge number of tiny, tiny rectangles. The more rectangles you use and the smaller you make them, the closer their combined area gets to the true area of the circle. Calculus gives us a way to imagine using an infinite number of rectangles, each one being infinitesimally small. This allows us to calculate the exact area perfectly. We use this same idea to calculate everything from the trajectory of a rocket to the flow of blood in our veins. Infinity helps us understand a smooth, changing world. In computer science and art, the idea of infinity appears in the form of fractals. A fractal is a shape that has a repeating pattern at every level of magnification. If you zoom in on a piece of a fractal, you will see a smaller version of the whole shape. You can keep zooming in forever and you will keep seeing the same pattern again and again. This property is called self-similarity. Natural objects like coastlines, snowflakes, ferns have fractal-like properties. Artists and computer programmers can use simple mathematical rules to generate incredibly complex and beautiful fractal images. This is a kind of visual infinity where infinite detail is hidden within a finite area. Physicists also use infinity as a tool, though they have to be very careful with it. In some theories, calculations can lead to infinite answers, which usually means the theory is breaking down and needs to be fixed. But infinity is also a key part of describing fundamental concepts. For instance, the gravitational field of a star or the electric field of an electron theoretically extends outwards forever, getting weaker with distance but never truly reaching zero. Thinking about these infinite fields helps physicists describe how forces work across the vast emptiness of space. Infinity is not just an abstract idea, it is a practical concept woven into the very fabric of our scientific understanding. Thinking about infinity does not just stretch our minds, it also touches our hearts. The idea of something that is endless, boundless, eternal can create very powerful feelings inside us. For many people, the first feeling is a sense of awe, smallness. Stand under the infinite night sky, contemplate the endless flow of cosmic time, and feel tiny, insignificant in comparison. Our lives, our problems, our accomplishments can seem very small against a vast backdrop, but smallness isn't always bad. It can be deeply humbling. That humility brings comfort and perspective. Daily worries, a deadline at work, a small argument, a traffic jam can feel huge. Thinking about infinity acts like stepping back, seeing life from a great distance. From that viewpoint, our troubles shrink. It helps us see what's truly important. This perspective reduces stress and anxiety, reminding us not to sweat the small stuff. It lets us appreciate the present moment as a precious gift, a small but meaningful part of a larger story. Yet for some, infinity feels scary or overwhelming. Time going on forever, no end in sight, can be unsettling. It raises hard questions about meaning. If the universe is infinite, does anything we do matter in the long run? This is sometimes called existential dread. It's the fear of being lost in a cosmos too big and impersonal to care. That reaction is valid and human. It forces us to face deep questions about purpose and place, but that fear can be reframed as possibility. Infinity can be a vast field of freedom. Endless time and space mean endless potential for new things. It inspires us to create our own meaning. Rather than seek a purpose given by the universe, we can choose what matters: love, kindness, learning, creating beauty. In an infinite world, small acts of connection and compassion feel even more precious and meaningful. Infinity challenges us to find our own light in the vast darkness. The idea of infinity can feel very abstract and far away scientists, philosophers, but you can connect with this big idea in simple, everyday ways. You do not need a telescope or a supercomputer. All you need is your own mind and a little bit of curiosity. These small exercises can help you feel the wonder of infinity in your own life. They are like small windows that let you peek into a much larger room. Trying them can be a calm and inspiring way to spend a few moments of your day expanding your sense of the world. One simple exercise is to focus on your breath. Sit down in a quiet place. Close your eyes and just pay attention to your breathing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then start over at 1. This is a simple repeating loop, a tiny echo of an infinite process. The act of breathing is something that continues without you having to think about it. Focusing on this steady, repeating rhythm can calm your mind. It shows you how a simple, continuous process can form the foundation of your life, just as infinity forms a foundation for reality. Another fun way to play with infinity is through drawing. Take a piece of paper and a pen. In the center of the page, draw a small spiral. Then continue the line, making the spiral grow outwards, wider and wider. Keep going until you reach the edge of the paper. As you draw, imagine that the paper is endless and you could keep drawing the spiral forever. This simple shape, found everywhere in nature from snail shells to galaxies, is a beautiful visual representation of infinity. The process of drawing it can feel meditative as you follow a simple rule that creates a complex and seemingly endless form. Finally, you can use your imagination to travel. Find a beautiful picture of a starry night sky. Look closely at one of the faintest stars you can see. Imagine that you are traveling to that star. Then, when you arrive, you look up and see an entirely new sky filled with even more stars. Pick another star and travel there. This mental journey helps you grasp the sheer scale of space. It is a game of what if that stretches your mental muscles. Breathing, drawing, imagining do not create true infinity, but they help our finite minds touch the edge of this incredible idea, making it feel less strange and more personal. We started our journey with a paradox, a road that you can walk on forever without ever reaching the end. We learned that this strange idea, infinity, is simply the concept of something that is without end. It is the process of always being able to take one more step, count one more number, or look a little bit deeper. We have seen how this powerful idea shows up in the real world. We saw it in the endless expanse of space above our heads. We saw it in the potential eternal flow of time. We saw it in the pure, perfect world of numbers that go on and on. Infinity is not just a fantasy, it is a fundamental part of our reality. We also saw that this is not just an idea for experts. Infinity is a tool. It helps us do the math that sends rockets into orbit. It helps us create beautiful, infinitely complex art. But more than that, it is a source of profound human feeling. It can make us feel small and humble. It can fill us with a sense of wonder and curiosity. It can challenge us to find our own meaning and purpose in a cosmos that is vaster than we can ever fully comprehend. The payoffs for thinking about infinity are clear. It opens our minds and enriches our lives. The paradox of the endless road is not meant to be solved like a math problem. Its purpose is to make you think and to feel. The oddness you feel when you consider it is the feeling of your mind stretching. That is the power of a big idea. It does not always give you a neat answer. Instead, it gives you a bigger space to ask questions in. Infinity expands the room. You have to be curious. It is an invitation to look at the world with fresh eyes, to see the hidden depth and scale in things you thought were simple. It is a reminder that there is always more to discover, always more to learn. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by a small problem, take a moment. Step outside and look up at the sky. Take a deep breath and feel the steady rhythm of time passing. Think of a line that goes on forever. The idea of infinity is not meant to crush you with its size. It is meant to give you space. It gives you a safe place to wonder. It gives you a safe place to dream. It gives you a safe place to feel connected to something much larger than yourself. And in that feeling of connection, there is a deep and quiet comfort. Even if some things are endless, every single day is new and precious. Keep taking your steps, keep looking up, and never ever stop wondering.